Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating history of the Jewish holiday Hanukkah. Whether you're familiar with the Festival of Lights or just curious to learn more, this is the perfect video for you. So grab a comfy seat and let's explore the incredible story, traditions, and meaning behind this beloved celebration.
The origin story of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, known as the Festival of Lights, is a beacon of hope and resilience that has inspired generations. Rooted in a pivotal chapter of Jewish history, this 8-day celebration commemorates the miraculous rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem after it was defiled by oppressive rulers. The story of Hanukkah is one of defiance against tyranny, a struggle for religious freedom, and a testament to the indomitable spirit of a people who refuse to surrender their identity. The origins of Hanukkah trace back over 2,000 years, during the tumultuous era of the Seleucid Empire, a successor state of Alexander the Great's sprawling conquests. The Jews of Judea found themselves caught in a cultural and political maelstrom as Hellenistic rulers sought to impose their customs, beliefs, and authority over the region. It was a time of great upheaval, marked by violent clashes between traditional Jewish faith and the pervasive influence of Greek culture. At the heart of the story are courageous individuals who dared to resist overwhelming odds, determined to uphold their faith and heritage. This narrative unfolds against the backdrop of the 2nd century BCE, a period when the Jewish people faced religious persecution under the despotic rule of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. What began as an oppressive campaign to eradicate Jewish identity ultimately ignited a fierce revolt led by the Maccabees, a group of devout warriors whose courage and conviction changed the course of history. Their struggle culminated in a miraculous victory and the enduring celebration of Hanukkah, a holiday that shines brightly as a symbol of hope, faith, and resilience. Historical and political setting. To understand the origins of Hanukkah, one must first delve into the historical landscape of the Hellenistic world. Following the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BCE, his vast empire was divided among his generals, creating several powerful successor states. Judea, a region with profound religious significance, became a contested territory. Initially governed by the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt, it later fell under the control of the Seleucid Empire, based in Syria. The Seleucid ruler Antiochus IV, who styled himself Epiphanes, or God Manifest, sought to unify his diverse empire by promoting Hellenistic culture. This policy included the imposition of Greek language, customs, and religion upon his subjects. While many regions adapted to Hellenization, the Jewish population of Judea resisted these efforts, viewing them as a direct threat to their covenant with God. Tensions escalated when Antiochus, frustrated by resistance, issued a series of harsh edicts aimed at eradicating Jewish practices. Observance of the Sabbath and study of the Torah were outlawed under penalty of death. The Second Temple in Jerusalem, the sacred heart of Jewish worship, was desecrated and repurposed as a shrine to Zeus. Antiochus's measures were not only an affront to Jewish faith, but also a violation of their autonomy, igniting widespread anger and resentment. Religious persecution and oppression. The desecration of the temple was a turning point in the growing conflict between the Jews and their Seleucid overlords. In 167 BCE, Antiochus erected a statue of Zeus within the temple and ordered the sacrifice of pigs on its altar, actions that defiled the sanctity of the site. These acts of sacrilege were accompanied by brutal enforcement of his decrees, as soldiers scoured the countryside, forcing Jews to renounce their faith under threat of execution. In the town of Modian, the persecution reached a flashpoint. A Seleucid officer attempted to force a respected priest named Mattathias to offer a pagan sacrifice. When Mattathias refused, the officer turned to another villager, who complied. Enraged by this betrayal, Mattathias killed the villager and the officer, igniting a rebellion that would shake the foundations of the Seleucid Empire. Fleeing to the hills with his 5 sons, Mattathias called upon fellow Jews to join the fight for their faith and freedom. This band of rebels, known as the Maccabees, launched a guerrilla campaign against the Seleucid forces. Though vastly outnumbered and poorly equipped, they relied on their intimate knowledge of the terrain, unwavering faith, and unyielding determination. The Jewish resistance against the Seleucid Empire began with a single courageous act of defiance. Mattathias the Hasmonean, a priest from the small town of Modian, could no longer bear the desecration of Jewish traditions and the oppressive decrees of Antiochus IV. His decision to slay a Seleucid official and a fellow Jew who complied with the pagan sacrifice sparked an insurrection that would grow into a full-scale rebellion. Mattathias and his 5 sons, Judas, Jonathan, Simon, Eleazar, and John, fled to the rugged hills of Judea, a natural refuge for those resisting foreign domination. From this stronghold, Mattathias began to organize a resistance movement. He called upon the faithful to rise against the Seleucids, proclaiming, "Let everyone who is zealous for the law and who stands by the covenant follow me." His rallying cry attracted a diverse group of followers, farmers, priests, and patriots, united by their shared faith and determination to reclaim their freedom. As the movement gained momentum, Mattathias' health began to decline. Before his death in 196 BCE, he appointed his 3rd son, Judas, to lead the rebellion. Known as Judas Maccabeus, the Hammer, he quickly proved himself a charismatic leader and brilliant military strategist. Judas's leadership transformed the ragtag band of rebels into a disciplined fighting force, capable of standing against the might of the Seleucid army. The Maccabean revolt was characterized by its asymmetrical warfare, with the Jews relying on guerrilla tactics to offset the Seleucids' superior numbers and equipment. Judas and his followers capitalized on their knowledge of the Judean terrain, launching surprise attacks on enemy garrisons and supply lines. These hit-and-run tactics frustrated the Seleucid forces, who were unaccustomed to fighting in the rocky hills and dense forests of the region. The Battle of Beth Horon. One of the first major victories for the Maccabees occurred at Beth Horon, a strategically important pass leading to Jerusalem. The Seleucid army, confident in their ability to crush the rebellion, marched through the narrow defile without caution. Judas and his men lay in ambush, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. As the Seleucids entered the pass, the Maccabees attacked from the high ground, raining down boulders and arrows. The Seleucid forces, trapped and unable to maneuver, suffered heavy casualties and were forced to retreat. This victory bolstered Jewish morale and proved that the Seleucids were not invincible. The Battle of Emmaus. Another decisive engagement took place near the town of Emmaus. Antiochus, now fully aware of the threat posed by the Maccabees, dispatched a large contingent of soldiers under the command of General Gorgias to crush the rebellion. Judas, outnumbered and outgunned, devised a daring plan to turn the tide. Dividing his forces, he left a small detachment to simulate a defensive position while leading the bulk of his troops on a night march around the Seleucid camp. At dawn, the Maccabees launched a surprise attack on the Seleucid rear, catching Gorgias's forces off guard. Panic spread through the Seleucid ranks as their camp was overrun. Judas's victory at Emmaus not only secured critical supplies for the Jewish rebels, but also demonstrated his tactical brilliance and ability to inspire his troops. The Siege of Jerusalem. As the rebellion gained momentum, the Maccabees set their sights on liberating Jerusalem. The city, under Seleucid control, had become a symbol of Jewish suffering and desecration. The Seleucid garrison stationed in Jerusalem was well fortified, but Judas was determined to reclaim the city and restore the sanctity of the Second Temple. Using siege tactics and relentless pressure, the Maccabees gradually tightened their grip on Jerusalem. After weeks of fighting, the Seleucid forces withdrew, unable to withstand the Maccabees' determination. The liberation of Jerusalem marked a turning point in the revolt and paved the way for the restoration of Jewish religious practices. With Jerusalem reclaimed, Judas Maccabeus and his followers turned their attention to the desecrated temple. The sight of the holy site in ruins filled the Jews with both sorrow and resolve. Pagan idols and altars were removed, and the temple was purified in accordance with Jewish law. On the 25th day of Kislev in 164 BCE, the rededication ceremony began, marking a moment of profound spiritual renewal. Central to the rededication was the rekindling of the temple's menorah, a symbol of God's presence and guidance. According to tradition, only a small amount of consecrated oil was available, enough to keep the menorah burning for a single day. Yet miraculously, the flame burned for 8 days, giving the Jews time to prepare and consecrate more oil. This event, the miracle of the oil, became the cornerstone of the Hanukkah celebration, a testament to divine intervention in the enduring power of faith. The victory of the Maccabees and the rededication of the temple were celebrated with great joy and gratitude. Judas Maccabeus declared an annual 8-day festival to commemorate the miraculous events, a tradition that has been upheld by Jews around the world for over 2 millennia. Hanukkah is more than a celebration of military triumph. It is a celebration of spiritual resilience and the unyielding commitment to faith and identity. The lighting of the menorah each year serves as a reminder of the light that endures even in the darkest times, a beacon of hope and perseverance. The story of Hanukkah also carries a universal message. It speaks to the human spirit's capacity to overcome oppression, the importance of preserving cultural identity, and the enduring power of belief in the face of adversity. The origin of Hanukkah is a story of courage, faith, and the unbreakable bond between a people and their traditions. In the face of overwhelming odds, the Jewish people, led by the Maccabees, reclaimed their freedom and rededicated their sacred temple, ensuring the survival of their faith for generations to come. Today, the celebration of Hanukkah is a time to reflect on the values of perseverance and unity. It is a reminder that even in the most challenging circumstances, the flame of hope can burn brightly, lighting the way for a brighter future. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you soon. Come back for more interesting content like this.